From the Oklahoman newsroom, it's time for a Varsity update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with high school sports beat writer Jacob Unruh. Jacob, it's week one. We had some really good games 0 week, but really, really good games this week, my friend. Let's start with number one. What a matchup this is.
The Heritage Hall Millwood is a matchup I've been anticipating for months. There's not a lot of high school matchups that really grab my attention like that months in advance. I mean, you know, you got Jinx Union in a few weeks, games like that. But then you throw in these two teams that have combined for so many titles the last few years, both coming off title runs of their own. Millwood with the talent it has coming back with, you know, with Marcus Major and Demarion Houston and guys like that. Like this is going to be such a huge game. And Millwood's bringing in extra stands. It's going to be capacity. It's just going to be a crazy, crazy night to start the season. 5
state championships between them since 2014, and kudos to these two schools for doing this matchup. I mean, obviously, this is the type of thing you want to see in non-district play.
Yeah, you know, Millwood enters the season with the state's longest active winning streak in 11-man. They've won 28 straight games. You know, Heritage Hall would be in that conversation. You know, they had an injury 2 years ago, lost in the playoffs. They might have had a chance that they could have been in this conversation as the longest one. These programs they're not pulling punches when they get non-district schedules. I mean, Heritage Hall still has Davis and Clinton and guys like that, and you know, teams like that on their schedule. And this is going to be the biggest test I think Millwood's had in probably about 2 years.
By the way, just so people don't get confused, this is a Thursday night game. It's at Millwood, so if you're waiting for Friday night for that #1 matchup between Heritage Hall and Millwood, you've waited too long. So Thursday night at Millwood, yes. Just to make that clear. As you look down the rest of the best games this week, some great games involving the Mid-Del district, including one matching 2 of those teams against each other.
Yeah, for the first time in 2 years, Carl Albert and Midwest City and Del City will all play each other. They haven't the last few years. Kind of a weird reason, you know. I think it just kind of just fell apart. I'm not entirely sure the reasoning yet. Yeah. But you get Carl Albert Midwest City on Friday night. Midwest City coming off the big win at Bentonville, Arkansas, in overtime. Carl Albert, you know, 14-0 last season, won 2 straight titles. This game is a lot about bragging rights here. You know, when you talk to like Midwest City players, they're super excited to get a chance to face a team that has won 2 straight titles in a row. That's from their city, that, you know, they want to go play. I think this game is going to be really intense, physical, and it could be a capacity type situation too at Carl Albert.
And then Del City is headed to play Bishop McGuinness, a really good matchup there as well of 2 really good programs. And you know, when you think about, as you mentioned, you know, sort of in-city rivalries and those sorts of things, Ada Ardmore, you know, there's a classic one. You can just kind of look down the list of games and maybe some budding rivalries too. Are there some games maybe down the list that you're more, maybe not as excited as, say, that Heritage Hall Millwood game, but some games that got your attention this week?
You know, I think Jones going to Lincoln Christian is really interesting. Jones always plays a tough non-district schedule, and Lincoln Christian had a, you know, kind of a rebuilding year last year. They're back to being good. Jones is going through a lot of changes, new quarterback, new running back, a lot of graduation hits there. I think that's a really intriguing road matchup for Jones. And there's even a couple games I couldn't get on this list. It was such a deep week. You know, Crescent Morrison, that's a top 10 Class A matchup right there. That's a really good game. Kingfisher Tuttle is another one. Kingfisher goes to Tuttle on Friday night. Tuttle coming off the big win against Newcastle. Kingfisher, I think, has got some questions up front with their offensive line, which is against Tuttle could be a little worrisome, but they've got Jet Sternberger and guys like that back at skill positions.
And remember too, more war. So like I said, lots
more
of
war, yes.
I mean, games that are all over the metro, all over the state. Some great rivalry games, and if you're not excited by those games, be sure to check out the Wednesday Oklahoman as our high school football preview section comes out. Every schedule in the state will be in there, so it's something you're going to want to have in hand and keep in hand throughout this entire high school season, not just week 1, but on through the playoffs. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.